Welcome, everybody, to Pasadena and the majestic Rose Bowl, one of the unique settings in all of sport. This year's Rose Bowl, presented by Prudential, is a crucial part of the college football playoff. Hi, folks, and welcome to this highly competitive matchup, as we'll see the number 23 team in the country, the Oklahoma Sooners, taking on the 13th ranked team in the land, the Miami Hurricanes. For EA Sports, I'm Chris Fowler, joined in the booth by Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk, let's get this thing going. Kick this deep to get us going. They'll return it from inside the 5. They'll be tackled at the 18. That's good coverage there. So the Oklahoma Sooners will get the first crack on offense today. This quarterback has earned a reputation as being one of the elite guys in the sport, for just an electric skill set.
Yeah, this is a guy that can really do everything for you. They do a nice job of building their offensive game plan around his skill set, and I think this offense trusts every decision he makes.
Oh, he makes the catch! Tackle made after a solid gain to spot the ball at the 34. Keep it on the ground. There's the handoff. A quick juke.
What a great job to be able to establish some rhythm to an offense. When you can run the football like this, it just opens up the playbook. You can continue to run. You can go to play action. You really keep the defense on their heels when you can run the ball like this. Nice play.
Important second down play coming up. Grab behind the line. It's Gibson. They wrap him up after the completion, just short of the first down mark. Running play called on 3rd and short. They make the stop just short of the marker. It's going to be 4th down and inches to go. will line up to punt it away. This is an absolute boomer of a punt. He was hoping that would check up, but a big bounce sends it into the end zone for a touchback. The Hurricanes offense gets their first crack now. And Kirk, this is what we've been looking forward to, a matchup of two quarterbacks who are elite, very competitive, matched up against each other today. One of the better matchups we'll see all season.
Yeah, a game that we really pointed to all summer. Looking forward to this matchup. Knew these two quarterbacks would go head-to-head. Very important they don't get caught up in the individual matchup. They just go out and work against these defenses that they're facing and try to put up as many points as they can.
Fakes the handoff here, looking to throw it. Dropped, a chance for a big play here in the early going, but some jitters on the part of that receiver. Back to pass. It's Beck. Caught over the middle. It's Daniels. And brought down at the 33. That's good enough to move the sticks. The Canes will have 1st and 10 here. And the ball is handed off out of the shotgun. And he will be stuffed for no gain. Here's the second down play. Trying to find room. It's Fletcher. Nothing doing in that play. The big D-tackle there for the stop. Offense been in reverse here. Now a long way to go to convert this 3rd down. Quick throw to his receiver. That one is incomplete. The defender was right there, and it brings up 4th down now. The Hurricanes will bring their punt team on the field now. Not what he was hoping for. Instead of pinning the offense deep, it's a touchback. Here's the first play of the drive now from the 20-yard line. Looking to throw it on 1st down. That's caught. It's Burks. And he's brought down, but there is a flag on the field. Let's check out this call. Hold. Solid gain on the play there, wiped out by the penalty flag. They'll run it here. The junior able to bring him down quickly. Defense getting set up. Here's 2nd down. From the gun, he looks for an open man. The sure hands, it's Burks. They make the tackle, but that pass creates a solid gain. Drops back, looking to throw for it on 3rd down. Escapes the pocket. He's got the first and still going. He'll avoid the big hit, a slide. Timeout is called by the defense. That's their 1st of the half. 1st down and 10 now. The shotgun running play call. They'll try to run inside, but nowhere to go. 2nd down after that run on the previous play. And the motion by the back now forces the defense to adjust. Grab behind the line. It's Spot. They bring him down, but that's a solid gain on the play. The Sooners are on the move here. Looking to pass. It's Mateer. That one falls incomplete. Good defensive play. Brings up 2nd down. They misfire in 1st down, so it's 2nd and 10 from the 41. Play fake, looking to throw. Lets it fly out of the wideout. He's got a man down the middle. They finally make the stop, but the offense threatening now. 1st down at 27. Here's the handoff. It's good for a 3-yard gain, so 2nd and 7. And the 8th play on this drive coming up. They look to throw it here on 2nd down. Deep shot toward the end zone. And he makes the catch. Touchdown, Sooners. But they were backed up to start the drive, but some bold play calling, great execution, and they reach the end zone.
You know, it's easy to just kind of pull your horns in and get conservative when you're pushed way back close to your own goal line, but not this offense. They came out, showed the confidence that they have in their quarterback, and it paid off. Nice touchdown.
They'll try to add to the lead now to the PAT. And it's 7-0 after the PAT. After putting up the touchdown, the kickoff team is out there to boot it away. Fields it inside the 5-yard line. Makes it to the 16. That's good coverage there. And for the first play of the drive, they'll set up at the 16. Ball handed off. He goes nowhere. Stop pulled behind the line of scrimmage. They got some ground to make up. 2nd and long from the 15. And he's got it again. They'll tackle him out across the 20. Solid gain on the running play. 3rd down now. They'll run it here. It's the running back ball. And they'll stop him just short of the mark. Good effort, but the defense holds. Now it's 4th down. And the Canes will have to punt this one away. And he'll kick it away now for the 2nd time. And the return is brought down by the coverage team. And the Sooners offense is back on the field. They punched it into the end zone the last time. Let's see if this defense has made some adjustments to stop them this time. Grab down the middle. It's Gibson.
How about the arm strength from this quarterback? He really didn't have any other option than to put it right in there and give it everything that he had. Great timing and a good job of squeezing that in between the defenders.
Caught near the sticks. It's Mertz. Ball carrier heads out of bounds, but the pickup is good enough to move the chains. 1st down. As with the quarter break, Kirk, Oklahoma has the lead. And at the end of the 1st quarter, let's check out the stats so far. Plenty of time for some plot twists here as we begin the 2nd quarter. Back at it to start the quarter. Offense getting set to run a 1st down play. Looking downfield. It's Mateer. Caught by the receiver. He'll be taken down, but he does have 1st down yardage. The Sooners come to the line to start a fresh set of downs. Off the play fake, looking to throw. The sure hands. It's Sategna. That heads out of bounds after a decent gain. Offense getting set. It's 2nd down. And the quarterback keeps it on the option. They tackle him. Looks like it's going to be just short of the marker. Inches away. Offense breaks the huddle and gets set. It's 3rd down. They'll try to run for the 1st down. Great. Here he goes. And he steps out of bounds, but a solid gain there on the ground.
Well, good push up front here in this back. I tell you, he's got some outstanding vision to be able to find those creases, to be able to get positive yards, and here he gets the 1st down.
It's a strong run, keeps the drive going. 1st down now. Looking to throw here. The pocket breaking down. Locates the tight end. It's complete. Tackle is made, just a short gain after the completion. Caught in the backfield. It's Gibson. Tackle is made. That's a short gain, well short of the marker. And he'll drop back here on 3rd down. Grab near the sticks. It's Gibson. The tackle is made. The offense is now set up for the 1st and goal from the 8. Keep it on the ground on 1st and goal. They'll stop him behind the line for a loss of 1. Ball back at the 10-yard line now for 2nd and goal. Trying for the end zone, running it right up the gut. Tackled behind the line. It's a loss of 2. The offense facing a 3rd and goal from a long way away. Out of the shotgun, he hands it off. Ball carrier wrapped up and brought down. Coach elects to try for 3 points and sends out the field goal unit. This will be a chip shot from 25 yards out. And it sails right through the middle of the uprights. Solid kick. And they add to their lead. So after coming away with 3 in that drive, the kickoff team is out. It's fielded. Can the returner make something happen here? And he's stopped at the 19. Good job by the coverage team. Here's the first play of the drive now. They begin at the 19. And they'll keep it on the ground. Running back has the handoff. Breaks a tackle on the play and makes a decent gain. The Canes come to the line in the hurry-up.
Pretty good gain here by this offense, and here they are. They're getting already set to the line of scrimmage. They're ready to go. Defense better get their cleats in the ground.
Nowhere to run. They'll corral him for no gain. So from the 28-yard line, it's a third and manageable here. Fakes the handoff, looking to throw. Caught near the sticks. It's Fletcher. And they wrap him up, but the gain is good enough for a first down.
Well, we've seen them do this in the past. A good throw, get the first, and here comes the tempo.
Okay, we reached the 2-minute timeout. The offense some work to do here, trying to cut into this lead before halftime. On first down, it's play action. Caught over the middle. It's Daniels. And he's brought down after a big first down gain. It's second and short. Maybe an opportunity for him to take a shot here. Pass ball is incomplete. There was a lot of contact. No penalty. Brings up third down. To the air. It's Beck. Makes a diving grab there. That was beautiful. Tackle made, but a strong arm throw by the senior quarterback. First down. Looking to throw the football. Fires it to the wideout. Makes the catch downfield. They finally stop him. It's a huge gain down to the 23. This offense trying to get going has put together a positive drive here in the second quarter. On first and 10, they'll look to throw it. It's caught. Defense reacts quickly. A very short gain on the play. The Hurricanes looking to take advantage of this red zone trip. Motion by the back. Defense better adjust. Caught behind the line. It's Fletcher. They'll actually lose yardage after the catch. The defense all over him that time. A timeout is called. Important stage late here in the second quarter. Dropping back. Looking to throw for the first down. He cannot escape. It's a sack. And now the defense will call a timeout here. There's something they didn't like about that look. They'll make an adjustment for this important play. So here on fourth down, out comes the field goal team. He knocks it through with confidence. So they settle for three, and now the kickoff. We'll see if the opposing offense has enough time to answer before halftime. And he takes this from inside the 5. And the coverage team brings him down at the 26. So they'll start this drive here with less than a minute remaining in the first half clock. On first and 10 here, looking to throw the ball. Grab down the middle. It's Burks. Offense stops the clock with their second timeout to talk strategy.
Defenses all around the country have got to do a better job of keeping an eye on these little guys from the slot. They can dismantle a defense with their speed and quickness in the open space.
They tackle him at the 43, but that's enough for a first down. Great start to the drive. Back-to-back explosive plays, and now another first down. And the offense will spend a timeout to get on the same page. This line getting set up. It's a first down play. To throw, it's Mateer. Running out of time in the pocket. Oh, down he goes. It's a sack.
Good pressure here by this defense, but it felt like the quarterback held on to the ball a little bit too long to come up with that sack for the D.
Time ticking away. Time for just one more play before halftime. Minuta's going to wrap up the first half here. Let's kick it down to Kevin Connors with our halftime update.
Thanks, guys. Looks like we've had ourselves a really entertaining first half. And yes, football is a game of inches, but man, is that really the case when you consider the length of some of these possessions. Look, I'm not an analytics guy, but I do know this. The team that sustains drives and just moves the sticks might be the team that comes out on top today. For now, let's get back to the guys in the booth to start up this second half.
And the Sooners will kick this away to begin the second half. Fields it just outside the goal line. Not much on the return. They'll stop him at the 24. Good coverage. Here's the first play of the drive now, set up at the 24. On 1st and 10, looking to throw. Grab behind the line. It's Fletcher. To get him down quickly, not much of a gain on that completion. Now it's 2nd down here. They'll run it to the right side. Fights off a defender. And the one moves the ball up to the 33. Canes will crank up the tempo. Dropping back. It's Beck. Tight end makes the grab. Not much after the catch, but it is good enough for a 1st down. The Hurricanes come to the line to start a fresh set of downs.
Really good job here of converting by this offense. And let's face it, at this point in the game, because they have such a big hole to climb out of, they've got to be able to convert and come up with a new set of downs. They do it here. Now they got a real shot to cut into this lead.
Direct snap. He breaks free. Defense makes the tackle, but that wildcat look does produce a 1st down.
That's going to be enough for the 1st down, and just as you'd expect, here comes that up-tempo approach by this offense. The defense is aware that this is something they do. Let's see how well they defend it.
Running back has it on the screen now. And he shoved out of bounds, but the defense short of the 1st down marker. The completion makes it 2nd down.
You can see what the offense is trying to do here with this screenplay, but they avoid disaster by at least getting a few positive yards. The defense doing a great job of anticipating the screen here.
And he'll be smothered right at the line for no gain. Here we go, 3rd and short in the 7th play of this drive. They call the counter run here. That's a good effort on the run, but the defense stops him just short of the marker. 4th down now. Out comes the field goal team to give it a shot. This is a long way out. And he's got it from 58 yards away, never in doubt.
Boy, this guy had plenty of leg here, too. Chris, you remember the days when a kick from 50-plus was a major accomplishment? Now these guys knock these out like they're almost automatic.
Following the field goal, the kickoff team is out there now. Bringing it out, it's Burks. He stopped at the 20, tried to make something happen, but that's good coverage there. Here's the first play of the drive now from the 20-yard line. He hands it off from the gun. That's a nice wrap-up there by the junior. 2nd down after that run on the previous play. Off an RPO, the quarterback looks to his right. They get him down, but the gain moves the ball up to the 36. Front lined up, it's 1st down. Looking to throw, it's Mateer. Receiver makes the catch.
Love the timing here between the quarterback and his receiver. Pick up some positive yards, and I continue to be impressed with just the chemistry between these two.
That completion makes it 2nd and medium. Quarterback still with the football. Breaks into the clear. Now here he goes. Slides down to avoid the tackle.
You talk about a headache for a defensive coordinator. You got to plan around that kind of speed and discipline and elusiveness from a quarterback like this. Man, it creates nightmares that this defensive coordinator, I'm sure, dealt with.
The Sooners keep the football on the move. Gonna run it. It's Ott. Defense stops him, but that's a solid gain. Second down play coming up. From the shotgun, drops back looking for an open man. QB to the tight end for a completion. They stop him after a short gain. It's not a first down. They're going to throw for it on 3rd and short. Can't hold on. Good defensive play. Brings up a 4th down. The Sooners look to convert here on 4th down. On 4th down, they'll try and run for it. And he picks up the first down before they get into the ground. They trust the running back to convert on 4th down. Now let's see if they keep feeding him here. On 1st down, why not keep it on the ground? A gain of 2 yards. Now it's 2nd down and 8. Back to pass. It's Mateer. Catch made, looking for the goal line. Runner scoots out of bounds after gaining decent yards.
And his defense is doing a really good job here. They're giving up some completions, but the important thing is they're making tackles and keeping this offense out of the end zone. Force them to be able to execute to get this touchdown.
So here we go, 3rd down in the red zone, the kind of play that decides football games. On 3rd down, it's a handoff. They've got him in the backfield, nowhere to go, a 2-yard loss. So on 4th down, they will settle for a field goal attempt. And it's good, right down the middle. So after the field goal, the kicker out there again to boot it away. And it's fielded, returner trying to create good field position here. He tackled at the 17. Strong job by the coverage team. And the first play of the drive now coming up from the 17-yard line. There's the handoff. Who's in the clear? Tackle made after a solid gain. They'll spot the ball at the 34. As we hit the quarter break, it's Oklahoma on top, sitting in pretty good position as we wrap up the 3rd quarter. Let's check out the game stats so far. We're set now for the 4th quarter. Who is going to make the crucial plays to take home this W? So here we go. First play of the quarter. The offense has a 1st down. Back to throw. It's Beck. And it's incomplete. The defender arrived the same time as the football. And now it's 2nd down. After the incompletion, it's 2nd and 10 from the 34. After the incompletion, QB tries it again on 2nd and 10. Catch made on the out route. Breaks into the clear. Tackle made, but not before he reaches the 44.
Chris, a really great job here with the quarterback and the receiver. This is all about timing. Quarterback gets back, no hitch in his delivery, gets the ball out in front of the receiver where he can run away from the defender for a nice completion.
And completion makes it 2nd and short. He's looking to throw. Makes the catch. It's Fletcher. And the runner steps out of bounds, but does have enough yardage to pick up the 1st down. The offense getting closer to a game-tying touchdown. It's 1st and 10. With the catch, it's Joseph. The game is 5, so it's 2nd and 5 now. Trying to flex the ground game here. Running back takes the handoff. They bring him down, but that play will set up a 1st and goal now at the 10. Great chance for the offense to tie the game. 1st and goal. And there's the handoff. Oh, it's loose. They scramble for it. The offense able to fall on the football. Lucky to maintain possession there. They'll try to power it in right up the middle. They'll stop him behind the line for a loss of 1. Urgency here. Got to cut it this lead. It's 3rd down and goal. Heading left after the handoff. Makes the defender miss.
I'll tell you what, considering they've been out there for a long time on this drive, they sure showed a lot of endurance there, coming up with a big stop. And now it's 4th and goal. And as an offensive coordinator and head coach, with this kind of drive, it just seems like you'd be missing something by not coming away with a touchdown.
Come away with 3 points on the drive, and now the kickoff team will boot it away. He's going to return it from near the goal line. Solid job by the coverage team. They bring him down at the 16. And for the first play of the drive, they'll set up at the 16. To the air, it's Mateer. Pressure is coming. Now a timeout taken by the defense, trying to preserve as much clock as possible for their offense. On their own 8-yard line now, it's 2nd and long. Grinding away with a running game. Going absolutely nowhere with a loss of the play. And now it's the defense that calls timeout here, trying to get organized and preserve as much clock as possible. Handoff here from the shotgun. Goes backwards, losing 3 yards there. And now a timeout taken by the defense, trying to preserve as much clock as possible for their offense. Hurries the punt, but gets away. A nice kick. Oh, and he's got some space here. Good effort by the return man. They get him down, but that's a solid gain in the return.
Personal foul. Roughing the kick. Defense.
And the head coach will decide to accept the penalty and take the yardage. Here comes a 1st down pass attempt. Caught over the middle. It's Gibson. Here he goes. Defense finally brings him down, but a nice chunk play. We've reached the 2-minute timeout. The defense desperate to get the football back, trailing here late. And the Sooners starting a new series here on 1st and 10. And the offense just takes a knee here. Time winding down. This offense comes to the line trying to bleed out the clock. Grab behind the line. It's Gibson. Defense makes the stop very close to a 1st down. So the job is simple here. Just take a knee, run out the clock, and begin the celebration. And 4th down, they'll punt it away here. And the returner is brought down as the clock runs out. That'll do it for this game.